So he says, give me some.
Yeah.
When he carry it to the lab,
He tested.
the anti-stiffness factor is what they're throwing away.
Yeah.
So he just bought up all the anti-stiffness factor and started putting it into his medicine. You see, unless you have these kind of anecdotal stories,
Yeah.
you never really understand.
Yes.
Now the thing about it is that company still makes liver and
Yeah,
thing,
but
and they make joint stuff,
Yeah.
and the joint stuff has anti-stiffness factor,
Yeah.
but it's an all natural medicine,
Yeah.
so it's not recognized. Doctors don't know anything about that unless they go and train on it.
Right,
But they give you a whole lot of steroids and all kinds of things that can't do anything to take away the stiffness in the joint.
But long ago, you used to get a spoon of molasses for some reason. I can't remember what. You know,
Well, you want me to tell you? All the trace minerals,
Yeah.
sulfur,
Uh-huh.
and I could go on.
Yeah.
Anti-stiffness factor,
Right.
right?
So these old folks.
I was talking to
Yeah.
somebody today,
Yeah.
and they tell me
Yeah.
that they have a thing they take off the web as to the superfood that Chenet is.
Chenet.
Yeah, Chenet. So I say, copy it and send me a copy.
But you're selling Chenet all over the place. No,
It's
outside the road.
and here it is, it's a superfood. So it means it have a whole heap of things in it
I'll buy
that we
Chenet
don't
before
know.
they see this program, you know, because the price will go up.
It's like how for years we using Hardy, right?
Yeah.
A guy called me a couple of years ago, and he said he had a swollen prostate, and he living out in Rio Claro, and he had no money not even to take a taxi, and he wondered if it have anything that I could give him. So I say, have any Hardy in the yard? He say, yeah, boy, I dig in it and throw it away. That ain't have no use. I say, you mad or what?
Yeah.
So that have use for prostate problems. It have use for anti-inflammatory problems. It have use for people who have Alzheimer's. It has cleaned the plaque out of the brain.
Yes.
I say, and you could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
He say, God, mister, I didn't know that. I say, go and dig up some. You have a little ginger? Yes, you have. Tell him what to do. Say, go and get some.
You get it in the grocery now.
I know.
In
You go in the health food shop in the States,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it don't stay on the shelf.
It doesn't.
It don't stay on the shelf. So what it means is that there's nobody to educate us, right? So somebody brought me some turmeric, some curcumin the other day.
Yeah.
They buy it. It come from abroad.
Capsules.
Capsules,
Yeah.
curcumin.
Yeah.
So I tell them, I say, that is worth nothing.
Yeah.
I say, in order for curcumin to work, it has to be lyophilized. It has to be mixed with oil. You have to fry it in oil.
Yes.
And then you have to put some black pepper. Well, then I looked underneath, I see piper nigrans.
Yeah.
So they put piper nigrans, but nobody didn't tell them that they had to mix it with oil.
Yeah.
So they got an inferior product. And I said, you know what this is? I said, this is Hardy, you know.
Yeah.
And she said to me, you mean the thing that has grown mad in the yard? I say, yes. She said, so why went and buy this in the store at this price for? I said, because you don't know. Your parents knew,
Yes.
your grandparents knew, but somewhere along the line the information went blah.
But you know, in the olden days, there was always a grandmother in the kitchen, cooking up not just food but medicine too.
Well, now you just throw the grandmother out and put them in the nursing home.
So they pack all the knowledge away. They close the library.
Yeah, the library's stupid. They don't know nothing about modern times.
Yeah. Right. And then they go and spend a set of money for something that's not working.
You know, see, people come by me and they say, I want to lose weight. I say, very simple. Drink 2 tablespoons of coconut oil once or twice a day and cut back on your carbohydrates. I say, and you'll lose all the weight. And they say, it can't be so simple. I say, yes, it's that simple. You know, so it's very interesting to come upon these articles,
Yeah.
right? So what this did, it vindicated what I was doing.
Yes, it
Everybody
does.
says, that was nonsense, you know. I remember I went to a conference up north with Rife Machines, and we got to talking about diabetes, and I told him what I do. He says, well, why you don't give the fellows here a little idea? So I had one of the papers that I normally hand out. So I got up and I talked about it, and I talked about what I do, and I said that, you know, it works.
Yeah.
I've had many people come back and say that they've turned back to ordinary. So I called him a couple of years later. I wanted to find out something about a machine. He said, hey, how you going? I said, going good. He said, I put your discussion on YouTube, you know. I said, you did? I said, I on YouTube and I don't know I on YouTube.
Yeah.
He says, and I have gotten so many people who said to me that it worked.
Yeah.
He said, and I really didn't believe it when you said it. You know.
That is the problem. The whole culture of
here it
disbelief.
is. He says, now a study published August the 2nd in the Journal of Cell Metabolism revealed that this successful response to weight loss is associated with early and sustained improvements in the functioning of the pancreatic beta cells. Why? The fat in the pancreas went down. The fat in the liver went down. Right? In Chinese medicine, the liver controls the stomach spleen. Right? In other words, the liver provides the nutrients to set up the chain that allows the pancreas to make proper insulin.
All right.
You following me? Both of them fat. You take down the fat out of the liver starts working efficiently. The fat comes down in the pancreas starts back working efficiently. So it is not enough to just go in and test the blood and say, oh, we have insulin in the blood. So we have insulin resistance. One of the things of insulin resistance is that the insulin might not be formed properly. We have no way of knowing whether it is formed properly or whether it isn't. Just like how you have vitamins and you say, well, we make these vitamins from petroleum and it have the same signature as B12. So this is vitamin B12. And they put it in a bottle and they give you to drink. And somebody say it has the same molecular thing,
but not the same effect.
But the natural B12, the electron spin is anti-clockwise. The one that you make, the spin is clockwise.
Right. So it's just not going to.
So listen to this. If you have B12 and you have methylcobalamin, methylcobalamin is a left-handed spin. If the liver takes it, it absorbs it and it distributes it. Then you have cyanocobalamin, which is the synthetic.
Right-hand spin.
When it takes it into the liver has to take it and turn it into methylcobalamin.
So that changes the spin.
It has to change the spin.
Okay.
So your liver is a little atomic reactor. You understand how complex the thing can get when you get down into the atomic physics.
So that means that because the liver has to do this extra process, they have a delay.
Not only that, it only does it about 5%. The other 95% come out in your pee.
It cannot do it efficiently.
As a bright yellow color whenever you take vitamin pills.
Okay. All right. So you actually taking your money and all right.
When I was young, right, and I wanted to feel more horny, I would go and buy vitamin E.
Vitamin E.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a few milligrams, 30 or 40 milligrams. And I take that for a few days and all the fellas knew that. You could go now and buy vitamin E and take 800 milligrams for a year and nothing happens. And they tell you it's the same thing. It isn't. Wheat germ oil vitamin E is totally different from the synthetic that you buy on the shelf.
So just buy wheat germ oil?
Yes.
Or wheat germ.
But if you're buying wheat germ oil, right?
You got to make sure you're getting real wheat germ oil.
Then it can't be from genetically modified. We're loaded with glyphosate. You understand how the whole thing goes downhill.
Everywhere you turn, this glyphosate there, you know.
Yes. And I was reading a thing there on the limitations, and they say on some oats that they're getting, it 3 and 4 times the allowable limit of the FDA, and the FDA recently increased the allowable limit from
so it passed
from 50 or 60 parts per billion to several hundred parts per billion, and now the oats coming out with 1,000 parts per billion.
So because they can't let it spoil.
Now listen to the fun. Used to spray the glyphosate in order to kill the weeds, and then somebody found out that if the stuff you make in the oats and the rainfall, so it's wet, and you want to harvest it, what do? You spray it again. You spray it with glyphosate, because glyphosate is a thing that is pull water out of the plants.
But that can be good for you because if glyphosate gets you, it will
and then
dehydrate
you're spraying it just before you harvest it. So the amount of glyphosate in it has shot up dramatically.
So Batman jelly was correct. We're suffering from a lot of dehydration.
On top of that, you find out that glyphosate getting into the gut interferes with the gut bacteria. It destroys a pathway inside the bacteria called the Shikimate pathway.
Yes,
pathway,
I heard about that.
which mashes up the thing.
Yes.
So the glyphosate is slowly mashing up
your gut bacteria.
your gut bacteria, and your gut bacteria is 80% of your immune system.
Your whole probiotic manufacturer in there. So
I rest my case.
yeah. And that opening the door for all kind of diseases and cancers and what have you.
The observation carries potentially important implications for the initial clinical approach to management, says senior study author Roy Taylor of Newcastle University. At present, early management of type 2 diabetes tends to involve a period of adjusting to the diagnosis plus pharmacotherapy with lifestyle changes, which in practice are modest. Our data suggests that substantial weight loss at the time of diagnosis is appropriate to rescue the beta cells. So what it's saying is go, change your diet, cut out your carbohydrates, start to exercise like mad, watch your sugar fall. As it fall, adjust your medicine that you're taking out.
Yes.
I always say if you're doing that within 3 weeks, you're about down in the 90s, right? You stop taking the medicine and your sugar reading 85 thing. And keep that going for 6-8 months and it disappears. Why? Because it takes off all the fat that is blocking up the liver, all the fat that is blocking up the pancreas, right? All the fat that is blocking up the mitochondria inside the cell, where the fat can't get to the engine, so it starts to suck sugar, and on the surface of the cell, where it gets in with the normal good oil, and kind of plugs it up and slows it down, so you have all kinds of problems. Now, if you could address those 3 or 4 things, so. When I thought it out like that. I said, I think to do this thing to way to get the fat out of there, get that LPA out. It will also start taking LPA out of your arteries, unplugging it. If you're then taking iodine, it will help to burn it out. So it have all kinds of things that you could do if you decide that you're going to fix the problem. What about
beetroot? The beetroot. I think we did a program sometime in the past where we indicated that the beet tops were good for cleaning
the beet top does clean the liver.
The
beet itself good for building blood, and also for raising the nitrous oxide cycle in the arteries, which drops your blood pressure, and it's also good for raising your red blood cells and things like that.
So there are foods there that will assist with the whole process.
Yes. So you begin to understand when you start using food and determination, instead of somebody telling you, well, you're on that for the rest of your life, and not bothering to inquire what it is causing the disease. And how you could change the cause.
God didn't make no human being to be sick.
Right? We're still using hydrogenated oil in the States since June. I mean, we talk about that already. They ban it in all prepared foods in the United States. They banned it quietly on June the 18th. And you didn't see a word about it in any newspaper in Trinidad.
That's true. And the manufacturers trying to petition to get a bly so they could still use a little bit in certain products.
So the question to ask is, what is the purpose of our Ministry of Health? Or maybe we don't have a Ministry of Health, maybe we have a Ministry of Sickness.
Well, I have to say that you took the words right out of my mouth.
Because whenever they have a health meeting, they don't get together and talk health, you know. They just get together to talk about who's sick. And they don't talk about how to fix the sickness.
They talk about what drugs you need to take when you get this sickness.
JP Morgan, one of the consultants inside, they write a letter about the health services and things like that. And he says that we cannot afford to have a cure for cancer because it is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and if we cure it, that whole industry is going to collapse. A lot of people are going to be out of work. So medicine is not made to fix anything. It is the policy of the investors to give you things.
Right. So they don't want a cure, they want a treatment.
So that's why a lot of doctors will tell you, this is blood pressure medicine.
Yeah.
You're going to take it, and you're going to take it for the rest of your life because it doesn't have a cure.
But all the side effects.
Yeah, but how does the blood pressure work in the first place?
Yeah.
What is hampering it that causes it to change? What causes the inflexibility of the arteries?
Yeah, but because of the amount of fluoride in the water, we're not thinking for ourselves, so we're not questioning.
We don't have fluoride in our water.
No, I talk about generally, worldwide. And you know, like, we like to import a lot of stuff, so we get in a little bit here and there. And then, well, of course, there's toothpaste.
He said diabetes affects over 422 million people worldwide, according to the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
Right? But I rather suspect, and in 90% of the cases, are type 2 diabetes, a condition in which the body does not produce enough or respond properly to insulin. But that is not quite true. You can see right away you get a half-truth.
Yes. Well, I suppose...
This hormone produced by beta cells in the pancreas helps a sugar called glucose in the blood enter cells in the muscle, fat, and liver to be used for energy. It doesn't enter into the muscles, it enters into the cell inside the muscles, and it is turned into energy by the mitochondria.
Okay.
You know, so you keep it superficial.
Yes. Well, I suppose they dominate down for the average fluoride drinking
I not
man.
dominate down, and I'm sure that everybody understanding what I say. The
Yeah.
mitochondria is the little centerpiece in the cell, little spiral,
Well,
and that is what the sugar goes into and produces energy.
Well, that is why we come to you, because we get it live and direct. Yeah.
The traditional view was recently challenged by results from the United Kingdom-based Diabetes Remission Clinical Trial, called DIRECT, overseen by Taylor. The participants who were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes within 6 years of the start of the study were randomly assigned to the Best Practice Care, the control group, or an intensive primary care-led weight management program intervention group. 1 year later, 46% of the individuals in the intervention group successfully responded to weight loss in that they recovered and maintained control over blood glucose concentrations.
Okay.
In other words, they were cured.
Right.
Right? If they go back out and do the same nonsense, you better believe 5 years later they'll get back the diabetes.
Yes.
Right?
So this is not a for the rest of your life disease where you lose your foot.
No, it doesn't.
And go blind and get damaged kidneys and all of them kind of things.
But see, once you start by telling a person that you're on it for the rest of their life, what you do is you create despair.
And then they could continue in their lifestyle because they're going and dead anyway. Yeah? Yeah, so.
46% recovered and maintained their control. Some non-responders simply had not lost enough weight. You'll always have the slackers. And in those who had, it was not clear how their response differed from that of responders. To address this question, Taylor and his collaborators examined potentially relevant metabolic factors such as liver fat content, pancreatic fat content, blood concentrations of fat called triglycerides.
Right, right. So
Right? Now you have herbal formulas that will take out the liver fat and take out the pancreatic fat, and will take out the fat out of the heart too. They mentioned that has caused you craziness.
Yeah.
Right?
And then the triglycerides.
And the triglycerides, normally you could adjust that with niacinamide
Okay.
and B6. Right? And our good friend, iodine.
Yes.
Right? Pancreatic, only responders demonstrated early and sustained improvement in beta cell function, only the ones who followed the rules. In particular, the most striking difference between responders and non-responders was the first fill insulin response. Pancreatic beta cells secrete insulin in two phases in response to an increase in blood glucose concentrations. The first phase, which consists of a brief spike lasting 10 minutes, is typically absent in patients with type 2 diabetes. So anytime your blood glucose go up, boom, the body comes out and hits you, in insulin, 10 minutes. I used to really tear it down fast.
Yeah.
And then after that, it kind of levels out, it balances out, and then it brings it down slowly. First phase insulin secretion increased in responders after weight loss, but did not change in responders, in the non-responders. So what it's saying is that the ones who took the fat out of the pancreas and the liver regained the ability to respond properly. So part of the problem is, not part of the problem, the whole problem is the fat in the liver, which is almost totally LPA.
LPA. Which comes from hydrogenated
Which
oil.
comes from hydrogenated oil.
That you're paying for in the grocery.
And it makes you sick.
Yes.
Right? Moreover, the participants were evaluated for only 12 months of weight maintenance. So longer studies are underway. But I could tell you that I have people who reversed it and they still reverse because they keep their lifestyle. They say they feel better, they have more energy.
Yeah.
And as one old fella tell me, he said, and everything working again.
Keep it pumping.
The knowledge of reversibility of type 2 diabetes, ultimately due to redifferentiation of the pancreatic beta cells, will lead to further targeted work to improve understanding of this process. This provides a major focus for cell biologists to make specific advances. The name of the article is Remission of Human Type 2 Diabetes requires decrease in liver and pancreatic fat content, but is dependent upon capacity for beta cell recovery. Cell Metabolism, that's the name of the magazine, 2018, DOI 1016 /G CMET 2018 7-3.
Okay.
You know, when I read that article, I was very glad because I had been saying that and practicing it for years, and everybody says that I'm mad. You know, I have people and they'd come and they'd say, I went to my Western doctor, you know, and I told him what I was doing, and he told me that's crazy. Nobody can reverse type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, but today is mad is tomorrow's genius.
Right.
So let me keep saying what they're saying.
I had this and I thought I would take a read on it. A natural yellow chemical compound you can find in any grocery store could help fight cancer, diabetes and even Alzheimer's.
Turmeric?
Oh Jesus, boy, I love it, you know.
Yeah.
And you have doctors who say herbs don't work.
No, they don't work. They don't work.
So the human race has lived on herbs, kept well on herbs for thousands and thousands of years.
Most of the medicines today is synthesized compound that they found in herbs.
That is true.
Right?
That is true.
Right.
You only have to look at glaucoma medicine with Timolil malate to understand that what you're looking at is marijuana.
Yes.
You understand? But they will tell you that marijuana is bad for you.
Yes. And what about the red yeast rice?
Oh, that was the first statin.
Yes.
Which the Chinese have been using for more than 1,000 years. You know, I have a book on who called the Gankao, which is about 800 years old. Right? Big 6 volumes. So even in them days, fellas had plenty. And you have all the diseases and things like that. And they have, for fat in the blood, excessive fat in the blood, you use red yeast rice.
Yes.
Which they took and made Lipitor from.
No, but you know what's amazing? You hear a scientific article or documentary going on, and they say these discoveries were only made possible by modern scientific techniques. And
now here the fun of it. Here the fun of it. If you take Lipitor, the astronauts in Cape Canaveral, they give them Lipitor in order to make them super healthy, drop their cholesterol very low. All of them ended up with bad memory loss. So they wrote a book called Lipitor, Thief of the Memory, written by the astronauts themselves. And the joke, fella says, he reached by the grocery, he remember his wife tell him to buy something. He can't remember what to buy. So you go in the grocery and you buy milk and all of that, you know, that you think might be what he had to buy.
He just buys. So
Right.
he must hit something.
He says, the day I went to the grocery and I bought it, she'll say, well, I ain't ordered this and I ain't ordered that. But at least he off the hook, he didn't forget, right?
Yeah.
He said, comes out into the car park and he can't remember where he parked his car.
Yeah.
He start looking and then he can't remember what car it is he have.
Yeah. You can't remember your number.
He can't remember nothing. So he say, all right, if he take the thing, he go, chick, 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 chick. Finally, a car go, chukooks.
Yeah.
And he go and he jump in the car and he start the car. When he start the car, you can't remember where he live in.
Well,
it got that bad, you know?
That is more than the thief of the mind, you know. That thief will head.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but they had them on heavy doses, you know. They wanted them supposedly super fit.
Yeah.
Here we are 20 years later, and they say that whole thing with cholesterol statin thing is a big myth.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's saying that, and they're still feeding people all these statin drugs. It will take another 5 years before it just slowly disappears from the market.
Yeah.
You know?
But once they get rid of the LPA and the hydrogenated oil and all of that, yeah, they need statins, really.
No.
You know, so.
No, you won't.
So
I always remember reading a report where the Eskimos that live in the north of Alaska that still hunt whale and seal and things like that, they need fat to keep the heat in their body, right? So they have cholesterols of 350 and 380 and 300 and all kind of things, right?
Yeah.
And nobody ain't have heart problems. Nobody ain't have plugged arteries. Everybody healthy. Take them and put them 200 miles south into the village where they're working on shore and they ain't doing that anymore, and give them 5 years. All the troubles, all the plugged arteries, all the fatty liver, everything. It's only when you read these kind of science reports why these people have these high cholesterol and nothing is happening. Because cholesterol has nothing to do with plugging your arteries.
Okay.
Hydrogenated oil.
The cholesterol made from hydrogen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is a high density, thick, sticky stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That is what is plug up your arteries.